the main function of the first paragraph is to do what? Okay, so the first paragraph told us what some critics think, right? And then, actually the whole thing is telling us what these critics think. Are we cool with that?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, I would go through the answers looking for that. Which ones were you guys debating?
A.
A. Any others? D. Okay, let's talk about those. A. Summarize the political and economic context from which Marcusian's critiques of advertising arise. You feel like the point of the first paragraph was to tell us about the context in which these arguments arose, or was it to tell us what those arguments are?
I mean, not the same thing.
Nope.
Like,
If
they
I-
have
if-
these arguments because they think it plays a role.
No, hold
in,
on. The
like,
political and economic context from which the critiques arise. The political and economic context would be like, these people started making these claims or held these beliefs or advocated for these ideas in a context in which there was political turmoil, economic depression, whatever. You're trying to explain the context in which they started making these arguments, as opposed to just telling us what those arguments are. I don't feel like there's any context here as to why or just what was the context in which these ideas arose.
modern people succumb to oppression because
That's
they're living
that's
in an objectively unsatisfying world.
that's their argument. That's not the context in which their arguments arose, right? Summarize the political and economic context from which the Marcusian critiques of advertising arise. Do you guys interpret this differently? Yeah?
Like I put A, but I didn't read the rest of the answers. And so after reading the rest of the answers, I realized it is D because like A could be like a more like higher level description of that, but it's not as accurate as.
Not as accurate as E. Well, let's talk about E. Oh, it's D. Yeah, that's not the right answer. D, I feel like is tempting, but it says, describe the prevailing views among contemporary critics. Why is that word prevailing make it wrong?
Let's go to some critics.
Some critics, we don't know if these are the prevailing views. Sound good? Watch out for those words. E, describe Marcusian views regarding mass market manipulation and indicate their role in certain criticisms of advertising. This is what Marcusian thought, and this person was central to these critics. Even, I guess if you interpret A in a different light, I still feel like that is not the primary function, right, or the main function.
Because, like, that first sentence, like, manipulative and hegemonic power, that seems like political and economic context, like consumers,
So wait, hold on,
underlying
Constance.
mechanisms.
When you think about this paragraph, do you feel like the main point of us is to tell us what they think, or do you feel like the main point of it is to tell us about the context of their ideas?
Both.
I felt like the main point of this paragraph was just to tell us what they think so that we can go on and then try to say why they're wrong. And that's exactly what E says. Describe their views.
I guess E is more flexible.
Yeah, I feel like A is too narrow if it's at all accurate. Okay. Claire?
Well, just really quickly, just the word context to me indicates like a time or an era. Like after World War II, like people were buying vacuums, and it's associated with
Yeah,
actual time
yeah.
and their feelings within it. So like, I'm just.
That was my initial rejection of it. I'm just trying to take another interpretation of context, like referring to the political or economic context in which the arguments are considering, like the modern times or whatever, But even then, I don't feel like this is the primary function of the paragraph. It's just something that maybe happens. I feel like the primary function is just to tell us, or the main function is to tell us what they think. And that's what the E says.